Hello, everyone. It is a different day, but it's the same content. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube channel. We're coming at you on a Thursday today, obviously because of the 1000 event in Madrid, which started in these strange days. It started yesterday on the Wednesday with second round previewing tomorrow's matches on a Friday. All a bit confusing, but you'll get there in the end. I'm Nigel Seeley. I'm your host. Make sure you hit the subscribe button here. Make sure you join the ever-growing community here on the Betting Weekly Studios on YouTube. Hit the like, give us a comment as well. And looking ahead to tomorrow's matches in Madrid is our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It is Sean Calvert. Sean, it's a bit odd speaking to you on a Thursday, but it's that time of year we have to do it. These strange times.
Yeah, I've thought it was Wednesday all day today for some reason. I went out to get the milk this morning. I get my milk delivered. It's 1981.
You must be the only person.
It's 1981 where I live. I've never got past the mid-80s, so I have milk delivered. I've got Minder on the TV sometimes.
For your teas, mate.
It's never
your teas, mate.
Clock radio. It's never gone past about 1980 something in my world. So I went out to get the milk. Obviously, it wasn't there. So I've realised it's a different day. It is very confusing because obviously you've had the school holidays as well, and they've gone back a day late. They've obviously gone back on the Tuesday. So I'm a little bit discombobulated, but that's nothing new. I haven't got any spiders in my ears today, so that's a plus.
That's good. Breaking news earlier on today. Well, breaking news a couple of hours ago. Number one seed Carlos Alcaraz had to withdraw from the tournament as we expected. We spoke about it on the preview show. We thought it might happen, but it's happened. Disappointing for the organisers and anybody watching Carlos Alcaraz fans. But it's opened up the draw massively now and gives all our chances to our big price contenders have moved in the betting. All good.
Yeah, that was the plan, wasn't it? I mean, how many times this season have we had a situation where we said, right, this guy's opposable for whatever reason, and it's worked out correctly that they were opposable. They did get beat early or withdrew or whatever, and then our guy is not the one to take advantage, mainly because of retirements and sicknesses and withdrawals and all the rest of it. So I'm hopeful that Lehečka can at least stay vaguely fit this week now, because that was what I said at the start. If I'll take Alcaraz out of that section, it's wide open. He was never going to play all these tournaments, was he? As I said at the start, he's never played Monte Carlo before. Well, once played one match. He's never had a Monte Carlo Masters, if you want a full Monte Carlo, if you want to call it that. This year he's had a full Monte Carlo. He's had a full Barcelona. He's got to stop somewhere because now it's Madrid. Then immediately it's Rome, and then you sort of all right. He can have a little few days off, week off, maybe after Rome if he wanted to before the French, but. If he reaches the final in all those, he's cooked by the time he gets to the French Open. So he's done the sensible thing, which is what I kind of half expected him to do, which is withdraw here, try and get himself ready for a go at Rome, and then into the French Open. Yeah, so no surprise that he lost. It's how we planned it.
And the other thing,
withdrew. Sorry,
withdrew. The other thing is that his main rival, Yannick Sinner, is going to come back in Italy, going to be fresh as a daisy.
Yeah.
Going into the first major without playing for 3 months,
a
little bit of
Draper,
match practice. Yeah, in Monte Carlo, and all of a sudden, he could be burnt out before he's even started, and his main rivals fresh as anything going to the French Open. So tactically, it's the right thing to do. He has obviously got an injury as well, but he doesn't want to burn himself out ahead of the majors, and it's all about majors. And obviously, when we're going into the major season and the French Open next month, we'll have you covered here on the Betting Weekly Studios. It's all about here and now, though. We have 4 matches to discuss in Madrid. Before we do that, Sean, you watched yesterday's action. You watched the tennis today. Is it as quick as you think? I'm looking at some of these results and I'm thinking, well, it's quick in the altitude, but is it as quick as we suggested? I mean, Pecci Berrettini was easily beaten by Navone. There was a couple of results where they didn't go to the way we were expecting.
No, I mean we've got the stats. I mean, some of the matches worked out perfectly. The one that I talked about, Comesana, with his much more effective first serve, ended up winning 80% of his first serve points against Martinez. Won that easy. That worked out as you expect. And Pecci Berrettini, he's either on or he's not. He goes through long spells where he's not. And the Bublik one is another one which I highlighted as, again, the big serve has got a chance. Ends up winning it in a couple of tight sets against Mickelson. So some of them have gone that way. The stats I've got after 16 matches of the main draw, 81.5% holds and 72% first serve points won. That's against an average of 81% and 71.5%. So it's, if anything, it's a fraction quicker, but that is only 16 matches. That will obviously change, but certainly not slower from what I can see.
No. So here's on the quick side, the stats say there. I watched them. I probably the money. I put money on Petri Perigard, and
he should be virtually unreturnable in these conditions. Yeah. I didn't see that match as it happens, but
I wish I didn't see it.
I had enough problems with the Bellucci one a minute ago that sent me a bit round the bend. But that was another one who lost from minus $10 in play. How many of them have we had this season? 5, 6?
Yeah. Well, we're not far off profit. I'm not even halfway through the year, so come on, we'll turn it. And a couple of winners on the tournament. You know, big 100. Not putting much pressure. A couple of Berrettini or Lechka get to the final here.
That'd be a great final, wouldn't it? Actually, I'm not sure it could be the final, could it? They're both in the same half, no. But it'd be great for them both to get to the semi-final and give us a. And
it's opened up, hasn't it? The draw's opened up without Carlos Alcaraz in it. There's Zverev, obviously number one fee. He's a big mover in the market as well, with double figure price into half that already on the back of the news of Alcaraz. But let's have a look at tomorrow's matches. Yeah,
should we do the weather first?
Yeah, I mean, Sorry, the weather looks pretty fair today. I'm watching here, sunny across the world. Will they continue with that weather?
Yeah, as far as the matches we're talking about on Friday, 25 degrees, partly sunny, quite a bit of sun. So, it should continue to play quick. I've just quickly looked at the trends of round 2. It's not been too bad for underdogs in round 2. The last couple of editions, 22 out of the 64 underdogs have won, which is 34%. So, and here in particular, you want to be thinking about siding with the underdogs a little bit more because some of these players, as we'll talk about in a minute, are coming in quite cold. Others are coming in from sea level at Barcelona straight to altitude. It's quite difficult to adjust. So yeah, this round has not been too bad as far as underdogs are concerned.
Yep, underground's looking good, and with first match up, it's got a very interesting underdog. It's the American Ethan Quinn, who has played really well this week and in the build-up to last week in Barcelona. He come through qualification, he beat Mute, beat Koric, then he got beat by Alcaraz and pushed him really close in the set number 2. It was only a tiebreak that the Spaniard won. Then in here in Madrid, Billy Harris in qualification, Montero, clay court specialist, Lajovic, a nice win over Lajovic. He struggled a bit against Montero, 2 tiebreaks in the end to get through that, but he's looked really good, and he's an underdog here at plus 275 against Jakub Mensik. The Miami champion, we opposed him in his only clay court start against Hanfmann over in Munich, and Hanfmann won that match. So Mensik comes in completely cold. Ethan Quinn playing great tennis, doing really well, and has the advantage of playing 3 matches already here at altitude in Madrid. The spread is 4.5, which is a big spread, and there's a big favourite. Ethan Quinn is a minus 175 favourite on the 4.5. If you want to go down to 3.5 with Bet Rivers, you get more of a price for the American there, and the total is 21.5. With over, again, fairly low, minus 134. I think that over 21.5 looks pretty cheap here. But this is a young man in Ethan Quinn. He's 21 years of age. Jakub Mensik, obviously 19. He looks pretty good from what I've seen so far. Very impressive his performances in this tournament. Pushed Alcaraz, the champion in Barcelona, close. Give him the biggest test, probably. Sorry, not the defending champion. The runner-up, wasn't he? He got beat by Hurkacz, sorry. But he pushed him close in his match over there, and he's got half a chance here. I think this is quite a big price about the American.
Yeah, it's the first one that appealed to me. I mean, I'm the same as you. I've written down here, I've been impressed with Quinn on clay, and I have. It's not easy for Americans to come and play on European red clay because they obviously don't have any of it. In the United States, the US clay is totally different. The whole court composition is different. The clay is different. It's all different. Which is why some people struggle, like the aforementioned Mickelson. It's not that easy, and he's making it. I wouldn't say he's making it look easy, but he's been really, really impressive. He's taken to it really well, which a lot of the American players don't. Initially, anyway, he's played some excellent matches against some really good clay courts. As you said, beat Dusan Lajovic, who goes really well in these conditions. He loves an altitude clay court. Lajovic loves the kick serve, gets it nice and high. He was bossed by Ethan Quinn and Montero as well. I seem to remember I was at Madrid last year when Montero beat Tsitsipas. And Montero played really well in both Madrid and Rome last year. On clay at altitude, Montero is a tough nut to crack, as Tsitsipas will tell you. And Ethan Quinn's beat him as well. He's also beat Borna Koric, as you said. Also beat Corentin Moutet. Both of those in Barcelona, where it's really thick, heavy, slow clay. And he was really close to taking a set, as you said, off Alcaraz. He had at least one set point in that second set, which went to a tiebreak against Alcaraz. If you look at what he's done on clay this swing so far, this includes qualifying, all main level events, 75% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 99. And that's against this group of players: Lajovic, Montero, okay, Billy Harris, you might want to skip over, Alcaraz, Coric, Mute, Colton Smith, and Jordan Thompson. That's not a bad group of players. And he's got a 75% win rate and almost 100 service points won and return points won total against them. So very, very promising signs from Ethan Quinn. And, Mensik's one of these players that is coming in for me a little bit cold. He's only played the one match on clay this year, and that was that loss that, we kind of virtually predicted against Hanfmann in Munich. And if you look at Mensik's numbers, they're not great at all on clay. Last 12 months at main level, 55% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 97. I mean, that's not befitting of a Masters 1000 winner. I know he won on a quick hard court, but it just shows that there's a difference in his effectiveness, if you like, between a sort of quick hard court. I mean, this court will probably suit him, but you could also say the same about Munich. Munich's got like 500 metres of altitude or whatever it is, and it was quite warm, so that should have suited him as well. Lost to Hanfmann. You would expect Mensik to hold quite often in these conditions. So I think it's a fairly, not obvious, but a fairly, well, yes, obvious play to go overs. Over 22.5 games is plus money, or it was earlier, plus 106. Hubert Rivers for this to go over 22.5. Any of the markets that you can back Quinn on, either with a start or, the overs. I just think Mensik, although he probably will win this match, I think minus 360. I think you'll get bigger than that in play at some point.
Yeah, 29 different markets available on tomorrow's second round matches with Bet Rivers, including the 22.5. There was a little toggle, as I said. You move it up and you can play 22.5 or go down to 21.5, whichever you prefer. On the Bet Rivers app, make sure you download the app. And if you do have a bet on the app, you'll be able to watch the match as well. So you bet live and watch live with Bet Rivers. And the match all the play starts tomorrow at 5 a.m. Eastern time, 10 o'clock over in the UK. So if you are watching, it's a nice early start. So get your wagers on this evening. And the bet for sure is over 22.5 games in that first match between Ethan Quinn and Jakub Mensik, two young men with a big future in the men's game. Let's move on to our second match. And it is Hubert Hurkacz, who was he was our man. He was our go-to man a couple of years ago. We had the T-shirts built up, made up. Hurkacz was the man, Cash with Hurkacz. Hasn't been the same this year. He's gone backwards a little bit. Hasn't played. No, it's just. But even at the end of last year, nothing really is going well. His form hasn't been that great. Got to the semi-finals in Rotterdam and got beat by Alcaraz. But other than that, it's been a disappointing year for Hurkacz. He's up against Bonzi. He's always a difficult opponent. Bonzi had a big win here in Madrid, beat Marin Cilic. He was in a bit of form coming into it. And he ended a bit of a slump. He's lost 8 of his last 9 matches previous to that win over Cilic. So Bonzi may get a little bit of momentum from that win. We'll see what happens here. If you're looking at the odds here, minus 220 for Hurkacz. He does lead 2-0 in the head-to-head, but they've never met on clay. Plus 170 for Bonzi, spread 2.5, and the total is 22.5 with over minus 114. I mean, Hurkacz matches, usually whenever you put them up, they're an automatic look for the overs, tie breaks, first sets, that kind of thing. Bonzi, he's had a big win, but prior to that, his form has been pretty poor, and we haven't seen Hurkacz on a court since Indian Wells. We got beat Alex de Minaur. Difficult one, this one, to make out what you would expect, but I suppose that, again, it looks another overs play.
Yeah, quite possibly, given Hurkacz's serve. I mean, Bonzi is a very streaky player. He gets in sort of peaks and troughs. I mean, hopefully this is the start of a bit of a peak for him. This is just a classic one as well about yes, it's clay, but it's quick clay. You would expect someone like Bonzi, who struggles on sea level clay, lost to Daniel Rincon, qualifying in Barcelona where it's really slow, lost to Albert Ramos, who's still going, the age of about 38 or whatever he is, in Monte Carlo. But this is a totally different tournament, and you can't price it based on the average clay event, because it isn't. I do like Bonzi to win the opening set here against a rusty, what's got to be a rusty Hurkacz. I mean, Hurkacz anyway is a player that needs to find rhythm to produce his best tennis. Hasn't played for 6 weeks now due to a back injury. Not played on clay since the French Open last year, so not far off 12 months, like 11 months or whatever. since he last played on clay. And I took a look at what he did at the back end of last year, as you mentioned, after he got that injury at Wimbledon. I think it was a knee injury, if I remember rightly. So we had a month off injured, came back a lot earlier than he suggested that he would. Most people, and him included, said he was going to take the rest of the year off. He didn't. He came back about a month later, and he went 6-5 win-loss, and a service points won and return points won total of 99 for his last 11 matches of the season. And that for me is just a player that hasn't found his rhythm. He is a player. His serve is always going to work. Well, not always, but most of the time it's going to work. But the ground strokes, he can be very, very clunky off the ground. And for me, he's a player that does need matches and rhythm to find his best tennis, as that it kind of illustrates there. He only won, as I said, 55% of his matches in a poor set of stats for his last 11 of last season. And the other thing I like about this, Bonzi's just beaten a similarly big server in Marin Cilic, who was in form, as you said. Cilic has been playing really, really well on the clay recently. Bonzi's come in here, beaten Cilic, no losses of his own serve. Now he's going to have he's got a sighter now on a player with a big serve. Now Hurkacz is a similar kind of player. Bonzi does like the quicker conditions. He's not great on slow clay. His record is not great. 33% win rate at main level on all clay. But he should have a huge advantage here in terms of preparation, in terms of match sharpness, in terms of adapting to the clay. Hurkacz is coming in here totally cold. And I just think it's a tall order for him to expect him to win the opening set at heavy odds on. So Bonzi's got a great chance, maybe not to win the match. It is a tough opponent for him, but Bonzi to win set 1 plus 143 with Bet Rivers. I think that's very decent value in the circumstances.
Plus 143, Bonzi to win set number 1. As I said, 29 different markets available are now on the Bet Rivers website and on the app. And Bonzi at plus 143 to win set 1 is one of our official plays. I didn't ask you in the first match, is that an official play over the over games as well?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yep. So we're going 2 official plays in straight away. For the action tomorrow in Madrid, we have 2 matches to discuss finally. Final 2 matches to discuss. Taylor Fritz, talking about going in cold. Taylor Fritz is coming in completely cold. He hasn't played since the semi-finals in Miami. When he played there, very, very good different conditions that he's going to find over here in Madrid. He's up against Christopher O'Connell, who came through a tough match in round 1, on the draw, a tough match, Hugo Carabelli. Yep. He won that in straight sets. That was a great performance from O'Connell. They've met twice before, Fritz and O'Connell. Both wins for Fritz, 6-1, 6-2, 6-4 at Wimbledon last year. But he beat him here in Madrid on the clay in 2023, 7-6, 6-4. And the first set was an absolute epic tiebreak. It was 13-11. I suppose the scoreline is probably a little bit, but it should have been a lot closer than that, the 3 games that he actually won by. So this might not be as easy as these odds suggest here. The odds here are very, very heavy for Taylor Fritz. He's minus 435, plus 330 for Christopher O'Connell. Spread 4.5, total is 22.5. Again, total looks cheap to me at minus 120, minus 105 the over. And the spread, I like Christopher O'Connell on the spread here, but he's short at minus 137, receiving 4.5. He has given him problems on the clay before, but Fritz has always had the answers. But first set overs I quite like.
Yeah, that's what I've got written down here. Should we move on to the next one?
Yep, that's it. Done.
That's it, done. Yeah, I mean,
what is it, 9.5 or 10.5?
Over 10.5 is plus 195 with Bet Rivers. Well, it was when I wrote this down earlier. It may not be now, but it certainly was earlier.
I will check what the price is while you give us the explanation.
So look, it's another
teamwork.
Yeah, you do the statistics. Well, the live odds work, and I'll do the analysis. So this is another player in Taylor Fritz coming off a break that faces a tricky opener in O'Connell. Fritz hasn't played, as you said, since Miami due to yet another injury. He's another player that's really struggled with injuries this season. It's an abdominal injury, which I think is a kind of reoccurrence of something that he had earlier in the season. He certainly had a very similar injury, a month or so ago. Maybe it's the case that ab injury hasn't cleared up and it's still proving troublesome for him, but not played for 3 weeks or so. Again, hasn't played on clay since the Olympics last summer. It's not easy to come in and find your rhythm anyway on the ATP Tour. It's even harder to come in to a tournament at altitude on clay when the last time you played was a kind of slick quickish, low bouncing hardcourt like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's a tall order for Fritz. I mean, he'll probably win the match, but it's a very short price, and the side markets do offer some interest for me. I mean, that Madrid match that you mentioned, extremely serve dominated. Fritz held serve 100% of the time and won 83% of his first serve points. O'Connell, 91% holds the serve, winning 82% on his first serve. So it couldn't get much more serve dominated than that. I think O'Connell, I haven't got the stats here down, but I think O'Connell won about 20% of return points. Fritz, I think, won about 31% of return points. So massively serve dominated, as you would perhaps expect in these conditions. O'Connell coming here, as you said, after that very good win against Ugo Carabelli. He was underdog for that match. Again, that could be an example of a more established clay courty, if you like, in Ugo Carabelli, struggling in the quicker clay, in the quicker conditions. So another example of that there. It just looks, in this circumstance, it just looks a good one for overs, doesn't it? Tie breaks, I think tie break played was 2.18 plus 118-ish, if I remember rightly. But I would rather take a chance on the set one being the long set or the tie break, just because Fritz, I should imagine he'll be able to hold serve okay. Probably be a bit rusty on return. So set one overs there, plus 195 it was earlier. We bet Rivers is perhaps the way to bet that one.
And here are the latest odds. Plus over 10.5 games in set one is still plus 195. Over 9.5 games, which is probably what I'd play, minus 124. I think 6-4 is such a big number. So I know it's a little bit. There's a lot shorter, the difference between plus 195 and minus 124. But I'd probably play the 9.5 and get that 6-4 on my side as well, minus 124. But the official play here is 10.5 from Sean. And if you want to bet the tiebreak, it is plus one. Oh, a lean. Okay, a lean, that one. And the plus 112 is the match to have the tiebreak in the as well. So nice odds there, all around the same market. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, and I was just going to say I've been somewhat burned this season by over 10.5 in set one. There's been some ridiculous situations where it hasn't come in, but yeah, if you're brave enough to take it on, which I'm not at the minute, I think it's the way to go. Yeah.
Our final match sees a player that is going to be very popular in the outright betting market after Carlos Alcaraz withdrew. The only player, as I've said on many times this show, to reach at least the quarterfinal in every single 1,000 event this year. So he's bidding to continue that this week in Madrid. Is Artur Fils, the fast improving, the up and coming star of the men's game. He's up against Comesana though, and Comesana loves a big show. He loves a big showdown. He loves a big chance to show his skills against a talented player. And this will be box office if you want to watch this match. Comesana and Fils, two players that like to entertain the crowds. Artur Fils is the favourite, minus 315, plus 245 for Comesana, who did us a favourite in round one. Spread is 3.5. Total here is 22.5. Comesana obviously beat Martinez for us. And Fils got beat by Alcaraz in the semi-final of Barcelona last week. So this is going to be a good one for anybody just to watch in and watch it without actually having a bet. But if they are going to have a bet, where are you looking at? What's the angles of attack here? Because Comesana does like a big show, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, I'm hoping he's not on the cigarettes on this particular occasion. I saw that picture today, actually, weirdly.
Weird, isn't it?
It cropped up in somewhere that I was looking at. I don't know whether that's real or just he was just having a laugh or something. I don't know, but
it's strange though, isn't it? It's like the Argentinian football manager back in the 1978 World Cup.
Oh yeah, Menotti.
Having his fags all the way. Keep saying fags. Got to be careful with cigarettes. Obviously, fags is something that we use over here in England. It's not obviously America's got a different meaning for it, but obviously cigarettes.
You see, I plucked that Argentinian manager's name from the top of my head because it was based in the late 70s and early 80s. I can't remember anything after that. Unless it's happened in the last sort of few weeks or whatever, or it's tennis.
Can you name any of the players? Who was the players?
78, Passarella, Mario
Kempes.
Yeah,
they
were the famous
Delia.
ones. Yeah, all yeah, it was a good team. Obviously, they won the World Cup, didn't they? So where was I? Comesana. Yeah, I mean, this is another tricky one for the seed, for the higher ranked player, for the more popular player, whatever you want to call it. Fils coming from the slow clay in Barcelona, the sea level, thick, slow clay. He's found the transition to Madrid very tricky in the past. He's only played 3 matches here. He's lost 2 of them. One of them was last year when I was in attendance, and we backed Altmaier. We backed Daniel Altmaier to beat him. Feast did claim that he was sick that day, and he may well have been, but I remember it was just me surrounded by about 30 French flag-waving Arthur Feast fans, and I was getting a little bit stuck into that. That was quite good fun. Altmaier won it, and his other one, he lost to Arnoldi. The only match he's won in 3 here in Madrid, Arthur Feast, was a 1,000th ranked Moroccan player who's still ranked in the thousands. And that was a couple of years ago. So he's found it difficult to come from the sea level clay or, make the transition here to the altitude. I mean, Comesana was, as I said, he was good value for his win over Martinez, 111 to 89 in terms of service points won and return points won totals of that match. And as I suggested, it might have been, the first serve was the key difference, really. 80-odd% first serve points won for Comesana. He's got a very underrated first serve. Now, if you look at the clay stats over the last 12 months at main level, there isn't that much in it, really. Comesana, 58% win rate, service points won and return points won total 101. I think he beat Zverev as well, didn't he, quite recently? I think he beat him on the golden swing, if I remember rightly. Can't remember where it was exactly, but I'm pretty sure he beat Zverev. Oh, I might be wrong about that, but I think he did. Anyway, so 58% and a 101 total. Feast, 65% win rate and a total of 103. So, bit better, but not that much better. And the serving stats are virtually identical. It's actually Comesana that wins slightly more points on first serve than Arthur Feast does, which I don't think many people would expect. He does have that underrated first serve. He's got that one match under his belt. As you said, he does enjoy the big stage. He's shown himself up very well in Grand Slams. So yeah, for me, this is another one that if Feast is going to win this, he's going to have to go long. Over 22.5 again. When I looked at that earlier, it was minus 106 with Bet Rivers. I think this is going to be a closer match than minus 315 on Arthur Feast would have you believe.
Yeah, over 22.5 is now minus 107. Sorry, no, over minus 107. Under 22.5 is minus 122. The price is exactly on the graphic there. No changes to those prices, and we're going to go for over 22.5. Is that a lean as well, or was that an official pick?
Yeah, it's just a lean. Yeah, he did beat Zverev. I thought he did. It was in Rio. I couldn't remember. I thought I was dreaming there, but yes, he definitely did beat Zverev. Yeah, just a lean on that one. But yeah, I think it's 4 pretty strong bets and leans here on today's matches.
Yeah, 2 leans, 2 official plays. The official plays are Sean again.
Yeah, the first 2 that I talked about, which are over 22.5 games in the match between Heath and Quinn and Jakub Mensik. That's a plus 106 chance with Bet Rivers. I'm taking a chance on Bonzi to beat to win the first set, against a rusty Hubert Hurkacz at plus 143 with Bet Rivers.
Yep. 2 official plays, 2 leans. Make sure you head across to the Bet Rivers website, download the app, load of markets available there, 29 different markets available on every single one of these matches. There's also women's matches as well, a big day of tennis action and a big week of tennis action over here in Madrid before we move across to Italy in Rome in 10 days' time. We'll be back again over the weekend. We're going to get one more show in over the weekend to get our full 3 shows on the week for you. Obviously, strange days with this period of time. Probably Sunday, because I'm at the FA Cup semi-final on Saturday between Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. So Sunday, it will be a day probably best if, obviously...
I didn't even know who was in the FA Cup final, to be honest.
Well, it's a semi-final. It's Palace v Villa semi-final, and the other one is Nottingham Forest against Manchester City. And you can watch all the previews on all those matches on Betting Weekly Premier League. Not only the Premier League matches, we've covered the FA Cup matches as well, and I have an official play on the Crystal Palace v Aston Villa match as well. That is going to be live on the YouTube channel very shortly. Betting Weekly Extra Time will cover all the action as well, and Betting Weekly live every day, Monday through to Friday. One of the handicapping team will be live, looking through all that day's action and reporting all the big bets with Bet Rivers as well. Monday through to Wednesday next week, Betting Weekly Tennis live as well. It's all happening here. Sign up to the newsletter, bettingweeklystudios.com. Put your email address in there. Newsletter will be coming out tomorrow with more picks from all the handicapping team on the world of soccer. And as well as that, follow us on our socials at Because We Win. And when I started doing this show, when we started, that last bit used to take me 30 seconds. There's only one thing to remember. Yep. Now there's so much content going on, and it's growing all the time. There's more stuff coming as well. It's so much stuff. It's so many things to get in there. But basically, we've got a lot of stuff going on the channel, so make sure you subscribe. Sean, that's it for the week. Good luck tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll chat again on Sunday if it's good with you, and hopefully we'll be back give you some more winners here on Betting
Yep.
Weekly Game Bet Match. Take care, mate. Have a good one. Take care, everyone, for watching, and good luck with your bets tomorrow.